Good day, my friends. Today I want to talk about something that many people quietly experience but rarely discuss openly: living alone. For some, living alone may sound like loneliness, silence, or even sadness. Society often teaches us that if we are not surrounded by people all the time, something must be missing in our lives. But the truth is very different. Living alone can be one of the most peaceful, empowering, and meaningful experiences a person can have. Being alone does not mean being lonely. Loneliness is not about the number of people around you. It is about the quality of connection you feel within yourself and with the world around you. I have met many individuals who live alone and yet live incredibly full and joyful lives. They wake up with purpose. They enjoy their routines, and they feel deeply connected to life. At the same time, I have seen people living in crowded homes who feel isolated and unseen. The difference lies in how we approach our time, our mindset, and our daily habits. Today, I want to share my top 5 tips for living alone, but never feeling lonely. These simple practices can transform solitude into strength and turn quiet moments into opportunities for growth, joy, and connection. The first tip is to build a meaningful daily routine. When you live alone, the structure of your day becomes very important. A good routine gives your day rhythm and purpose. It can begin with something simple like waking up at the same time each morning, opening the curtains to let in sunlight, stretching your body, or enjoying a peaceful cup of tea or coffee. Small rituals create stability and comfort. They remind you that your day has intention. A routine also helps you stay active and engaged with life. When you plan your meals, schedule time for exercise, reading, or hobbies, you create a life that feels full rather than empty. The key is not to fill every minute, but to create a gentle flow that makes each day feel meaningful. The second tip is to stay socially connected in small but powerful ways. Living alone does not mean cutting yourself off from the world. In fact, it often gives you more freedom to choose the connections that truly matter. A short phone call with a friend, a message to a family member, or a conversation with a neighbor can brighten your entire day. Even brief interactions can remind us that we are part of a larger community. Technology has also made connection easier than ever. Video calls, online groups, and social communities allow people to stay in touch regardless of distance. The goal is not constant social activity, but meaningful moments of connection that nourish the heart. The third tip is to keep learning and growing. One of the greatest gifts of living alone is the space it gives you to explore your interests. Without constant distractions, you can focus on activities that stimulate your mind and creativity. You might learn a new language, read books that expand your thinking, try painting, cooking new recipes, gardening, or even studying a topic that has always fascinated you. Learning keeps the mind active and curious. It reminds us that life is a journey of discovery that never truly ends. When you are engaged in learning something new, loneliness rarely finds space to grow because your mind is alive with curiosity and excitement. The fourth tip is to care for your physical and emotional well-being. Our bodies and minds are deeply connected. Regular movement, healthy meals, and proper sleep can greatly influence how we feel emotionally. A simple walk outdoors can lift your mood and bring fresh energy to your day. Sunlight, fresh air, and gentle exercise help release natural chemicals in the brain that improve happiness and reduce stress. Equally important is caring for your emotional world. Journaling, meditation, prayer, or quiet reflection can help you understand your feelings and appreciate your life more deeply. When you treat yourself with kindness and respect, solitude becomes a space of peace rather than emptiness. The fifth and perhaps most important tip is to develop a strong relationship with yourself. Many people fear being alone because they have never learned to enjoy their own company. Yet the most important relationship we will ever have in life is the one we have with ourselves. Living alone gives you the chance to listen to your thoughts, understand your dreams, and appreciate who you truly are. You can celebrate small victories, forgive past mistakes, and recognize your strengths. When you feel comfortable with yourself, silence no longer feels heavy. Instead, it becomes calm, restorative, and even inspiring. When these 5 habits become part of your life, something beautiful begins to happen. Your home becomes a place of comfort rather than emptiness. Your days feel purposeful instead of repetitive. The quiet moments that once seemed lonely become opportunities for reflection, creativity, and gratitude. Living alone can actually bring a powerful sense of independence. You make your own choices, create your own routines, and design a life that reflects your values. This independence often leads to confidence and inner strength. You learn that happiness does not depend on constant company, but on the quality of your mindset and daily habits. Another wonderful benefit of living alone is the ability to truly appreciate relationships when they do occur. When you are comfortable in your own space, you approach friendships and family connections with genuine appreciation rather than dependence. Conversations become richer, visits become more meaningful, and time spent together feels like a gift rather than a necessity. My friends, remember this important truth. Solitude is not the same as loneliness. Solitude can be a powerful teacher. It allows you to hear your own thoughts, rediscover your passions, and build a life that feels authentic. When you learn to embrace it, living alone becomes not a limitation but a remarkable opportunity. So if you live alone, do not see it as something to fear. See it as a chance to create a peaceful, purposeful life. Build routines that support you, stay connected with others, keep learning, care for your well-being, and most importantly, nurture a strong relationship with yourself. When you do these things, you may discover something surprising. The quiet home you once worried about can become a sanctuary of peace, growth, and happiness. You may be living alone, but you will never truly feel lonely. The power of self-connection is one of the most important yet often overlooked aspects of living a happy and fulfilling life. Many people spend years seeking validation, companionship, and happiness from the outside world without realizing that the strongest and most reliable source of comfort is the relationship they build with themselves. When a person learns to connect deeply with their own thoughts, emotions, and values, life begins to feel more balanced and meaningful. Living alone can actually create the perfect opportunity for this kind of connection because it removes many distractions and allows a person to truly listen to their inner voice. Instead of constantly reacting to the noise and expectations of others, individuals gain the chance to understand who they are, what they believe in, and what truly brings them peace and satisfaction. Self-connection begins with learning how to spend time with yourself without discomfort. For many people, silence feels unfamiliar or even unsettling at first. They may feel the urge to turn on the television, scroll through their phones, or fill every quiet moment with noise. However, when someone slowly becomes comfortable with quiet moments, they begin to notice something powerful happening within their mind. Thoughts become clearer, emotions become easier to understand, and the mind starts to settle. This quiet awareness allows a person to reflect on their life with honesty and compassion. Instead of judging themselves harshly, They begin to recognize their strengths, their struggles, and the lessons they have learned along the way. Over time, this gentle awareness builds confidence because it creates a sense of self-understanding that cannot be shaken by outside opinions. Another important part of self-connection is learning to respect your own needs. In busy social environments, people often ignore their personal limits in order to please others. They say yes when they truly need rest. They hide their emotions to avoid conflict, and they follow routines that do not support their well-being. When someone lives alone or spends more time with themselves, they gain the freedom to listen to their own body and mind. They can recognize when they need quiet time, when they need movement, when they need creativity, and when they need reflection. By honoring these needs, a person builds a sense of trust with themselves. This trust becomes the foundation of emotional stability because it reminds them that they are capable of caring for their own well-being. Self-connection also strengthens emotional resilience. Life inevitably brings challenges, disappointments, and unexpected changes. When a person has not developed a strong connection with themselves, these difficulties can feel overwhelming. They may depend entirely on others for reassurance or struggle to find inner strength during hard times. However, when someone has learned to understand their own emotions, they can face difficulties with greater calm and clarity. They recognize that feelings such as sadness, frustration, or fear are natural parts of life rather than signs of weakness. Instead of avoiding these emotions, they allow themselves to process them in healthy ways through reflection, writing, prayer, meditation, or quiet contemplation. This emotional awareness prevents small worries from growing into heavy burdens. A strong relationship with yourself also encourages personal growth and curiosity. When you understand your own interests and passions, you naturally begin to explore activities that bring meaning to your life. Some people discover a love for reading, painting, gardening, cooking, or learning new skills. Others may develop a deeper appreciation for nature, spirituality, or creative expression. These activities are not simply ways to pass time, they become pathways to self-discovery. Each new experience teaches you something about your preferences, your abilities, and the kind of life you wish to create. As this awareness grows, you begin to shape your daily life in ways that reflect your true values rather than the expectations of others. Self-connection also changes the way a person approaches relationships with other people. When someone feels secure within themselves, they no longer seek constant approval or validation from those around them. Instead, they approach relationships with a sense of openness and authenticity. Conversations become more genuine because they are not driven by fear of judgment. Friendships become healthier because they are built on mutual respect rather than emotional dependence. A person who values their own company does not isolate themselves from others. Instead, they connect with people in more meaningful ways. They appreciate companionship but do not feel incomplete when they are alone. Over time, the practice of self-connection creates a quiet sense of confidence that influences every part of life. Decisions become easier because they are guided by personal values rather than external pressure. Daily routines feel more satisfying because they are chosen intentionally. Even moments of solitude feel peaceful rather than empty. A person begins to realize that their inner world can be a place of strength, creativity, and comfort. This understanding transforms the experience of living alone into something deeply empowering. The home becomes a space where a person can recharge, reflect, and grow without distraction. The more someone practices listening to themselves with patience and kindness, the stronger this connection becomes. It is not something that appears suddenly, but something that develops gradually through awareness and self-respect. Each moment spent understanding your thoughts, caring for your needs, and honoring your feelings strengthens the bond you have with yourself. This bond becomes a steady source of stability throughout life, providing comfort during uncertainty and joy during peaceful moments. When a person truly connects with themselves, they discover that they are never truly alone because they carry a deep sense of companionship within their own heart. Creating purposeful daily routines can transform the experience of living alone into something deeply fulfilling and balanced. When a person lives alone, the structure of the day becomes entirely their own responsibility. Without routines, time can easily drift by without direction, leading to boredom, restlessness, or even feelings of isolation. However, when daily life is guided by thoughtful routines, each day gains a sense of rhythm and intention. A purposeful routine does not mean filling every moment with activity. Instead, it means shaping the day in a way that supports physical health, emotional well-being, and personal growth. Simple habits repeated consistently can create a strong sense of stability and meaning, turning ordinary days into experiences that feel productive and satisfying. A purposeful routine often begins with how the morning is approached. The first moments after waking can set the tone for the entire day. Instead of rushing immediately into distractions or responsibilities, many people find it helpful to start the morning with calm and mindful activities. Opening the curtains to welcome natural light, taking a few deep breaths, stretching the body, or enjoying a quiet cup of tea can gently prepare the mind for the day ahead. These small rituals provide a sense of grounding and remind the person that the day belongs to them. When mornings begin with calm intention rather than chaos, the mind becomes clearer and more focused, allowing the rest of the day to unfold more smoothly. Another essential part of creating meaningful routines is including movement and care for the body. Physical activity does not have to be intense or complicated to be effective. A simple walk around the neighborhood, light stretching, yoga, or even dancing to music in the living room can lift the mood and increase energy levels. Movement stimulates the body and releases natural chemicals that help reduce stress and improve emotional balance. For someone living alone, these moments of movement can also break up long periods of stillness and create a refreshing change of pace throughout the day. When physical activity becomes a regular part of the routine, the body begins to feel stronger and more energized, which naturally supports a more positive mindset. Purposeful routines also include time for nourishing meals and mindful eating. When people live alone, it can sometimes feel tempting to skip meals, eat irregularly, or rely on convenience foods. However, preparing simple, healthy meals can become a rewarding ritual that supports both physical and emotional health. Cooking for yourself is an act of self-respect and care. It allows you to slow down, focus on the present moment, and enjoy the process of creating something nourishing. Sitting down to eat without rushing, appreciating the flavors, and taking time to relax during meals can transform a basic necessity into a moment of comfort and enjoyment. In addition to physical care, a purposeful routine also makes space for mental stimulation and creativity. The mind thrives when it is engaged with meaningful activities. Reading books, learning a new skill, writing in a journal, solving puzzles, or exploring creative hobbies like painting, crafting, or music can bring excitement and curiosity into daily life. These activities prevent the mind from becoming stagnant and encourage continuous learning. When the brain is actively engaged in interesting tasks, the day feels more vibrant and fulfilling. Even dedicating a short period of time each day to personal interests can make a significant difference in how meaningful life feels. Another powerful element of a purposeful routine is maintaining small connections with the outside world. Living alone does not mean disconnecting from society. Simple interactions such as calling a friend, chatting with a neighbor, visiting a local market, or participating in an online community can add warmth and variety to the day. These brief moments of connection remind people that they are part of a larger community, even if they spend much of their time in solitude. Scheduling regular communication with loved ones can provide emotional support while still preserving the independence and peace that come with living alone. Evening routines also play an important role in creating a balanced day. As the day comes to an end, slowing down the pace can help the mind transition from activity to rest. Dimming the lights, turning off unnecessary screens, reading a book, listening to calming music, or reflecting quietly on the day can create a peaceful atmosphere. Some people enjoy writing down a few thoughts about what they experienced, what they learned, or what they are grateful for. These moments of reflection allow the mind to settle and prepare for restful sleep. A consistent evening routine signals to the body that it is time to relax, which often leads to deeper and more refreshing sleep. Over time, purposeful routines create a comforting sense of rhythm in daily life. They remove the uncertainty of wondering how to spend each day and replace it with habits that support well-being and personal growth. Instead of feeling empty or repetitive, the day becomes a series of meaningful moments connected by intention. These routines also strengthen self-discipline and self-trust, because each completed habit reinforces the belief that you are capable of caring for your own life in a thoughtful way. The beauty of creating daily routines while living alone is the freedom to design them according to personal preferences and values. There is no need to follow someone else's schedule or expectations. Each person can shape their day in a way that supports their unique goals, interests, and energy levels. This flexibility allows routines to evolve naturally as life changes, making them both supportive and sustainable. When a person approaches each day with intention and gentle structure, living alone becomes less about solitude and more about creating a life that feels rich with purpose and quiet satisfaction.